So today's session we are going to discuss about of the creation of a general ledger accounts. Here we are going to discuss about of creation of a general ledger accounts. Creation of a general ledger accounts. And in generally all the ledgers has been divided into the two parts based on the transaction wise. The first thing was balance sheet and the second one was profit and loss. So totally we are having the two different types of the ledgers as per the transaction wise. One is the profit and loss and the second one is in a balance sheet. And what was the indifference in between of this balance sheet and the profit and loss? Can we make the difference in between of these two? In the first part, the balance sheet consists of the assets, liabilities, and as well as the capitals. As in the same way, in the profit and loss, we can have the incomes and as well as expenses. So, first part which we need to identify here, there was only two type of the ledgers will be there, depends upon the transactions. The first one will be the balance sheet and the second one will be the profit and loss. In the balance sheet, we can have the liabilities, capitals, and as well as the assets. And in the profit and loss, we can have the incomes and expenditures. So this is the first point we need to identify. And the second thing is, whatever the balance sheet, which you are doing all the transactions in the balance sheet, that means either it is in the liabilities or the assets or the capitals, those can have the balances, only balances in local currency. That means any transactions which was happening, either it is in the assets, liabilities or capitals, that means which was comes under onto the balance sheet, those of the ledgers can have their transactions and their balances only in the company code currency, not in the company code currency. Is it yes or no? Then we can say that it should be activate. That means all the balance sheet accounts can have their transactions in only balances in local currency. And in the same way, the profit and loss accounts cannot maintain in the same currency. Either they can maintain in the other than the company core currency also. That means the balance sheet accounts should be activated with the only balances in local currency, but not the profit and loss accounts. That means we need not to activate this button for the profit and loss accounts. And the third step is open item management. That means in before of creation of these of the accounts, and if these of the accounts of the balance sheet can have any opening balances with there or not, is there any opening balances will be there or not? For the balance sheet accounts, they can have some of the balances, but as well as for the profit and loss accounts, you can't having any balances with there. Why? Because any balance in the profit and loss account should be transferred to the next years of the balance sheet. That's why we don't have any balance amounts here in the profit and loss account. And all these transactions of the balance sheet and as well as the profit and loss, we can have the display with line item wise, and here also activate. Means if we have made any transaction, either it is in the profit and loss or it is in the balance sheet, you can have the itemized display with line item wise, and as well as sort key, and in generally the sort key for each and every ledger should be issued. It's a 001. That's what we can call as a posting date wise. In the same way, here also it will be the 001, which is the posting date. And as well as Can we go for the next step? It was a field status group. That means when we are posting of any transaction by using of these of the general ledger, which of the fields should be there and which should not be there. At least which we can call as a field status group. Where it was a Z001, which is related to the general, and here here in the revenue accounts we can manage it as G029. What was the revenue accounts? And even we can have the G005 bank accounts, and as well as here G004, it was on a cost. So whenever we are creation of a ledgers, first of all we need to make the identification of all of these 6 identifications. So which type of the ledger it was, and what would be the, it will become centered into the balance sheet or the profit and loss account, and is it can have the only balance in local currency or not, and these ledgers can have the open item management or not, and all the ledgers should be in the line item display, and the short key can be the 001, and the field status group how it will be works for that general ledger. So all these transactions, all these values and the fields which we need to identify when creation of a general ledger. And as well as if you want to creation of a general ledger, what will be the menu path for this general ledger creation? Here the menu path will be the SPRO, SAP reference IMG, financial accounting, general ledger accounting, GL accounts, master data, GL account creation and processing, GL account creation and processing, and there edit GL account, edit GL account central link, and even let's check it out, SPRO on the logon, SPRO, SAP reference IMG, and then financial accounting, from that general ledger accounting, GL accounts, master data, GL account creation and processing, edit GL account, and then edit GL account central link. This is one menu path. Even when we are working in the supporting, I am not in the this one. I am going to the supporting session. In the situation from here, from easy access screen, another menu path will be there. From easy access screen, accounting, financial accounting, general ledger, here, accounting, financial accounting, general ledger, master records, GL accounts, individual processing, and their central link. For the both of the menu paths, the transaction code is the same. Here the transaction code is FS00. FS00. And just we can go for the FS00.
Hello, sir.
Yeah,
Why is that? What is the difference between at chart of account level and company code level and centrally? Because
yeah,
this was the question they throwed when one of the interview.
sure. I will let you know this one. See here, in the centrally means it cannot be maintained by the for that particular chart of accounts, and it can't be for the particular company code. It will be the central means the combination of the company code level and as well as the chart of accounts level. Otherwise, if
Okay.
we can go for the chart of accounts level, which we said that there was a two different types of the chart of accounts will be there. One is the chart of accounts is the uh, sorry, country specific,
Operations.
country specific chart of accounts, and the second one is an a operational chart of accounts. So operational chart of accounts is in a company level, and as well as country specific chart of accounts is in a country level. Here it was. If you want to go for the chart of accounts level, that means when you are going to create the general ledger, by in the group chart of accounts, instead of that one, we want to create in a general ledger in the
Mm-hmm.
country specific chart of accounts, then we can go for the FSP0. Otherwise, if you want to go
Okay.
for the company code chart of accounts, at that time we will go for the in FSS0. In otherwise, I am maintaining both of the things, the company code and the chart of accounts. Both I am having only the one chart of accounts for one company code. Then we can go for the FS00. That was the
Centrally.
difference
Okay.
in between of the these three. One is on the chart of accounts level means it should be come to the country specific chart of accounts, and the company code in the sense of I don't want to maintain in the chart of accounts wise, I want to maintain in the company code level. Even if you want to maintain for both of the things, you can go for the FS00. So this was the difference in between of the all the company code level and the chart of accounts level, and as well as so on so so. Got it, ma'am? And
Okay, sir.
now we will go for the central link, and there was a multiple of the buttons will be showing here. If you can see here, see, this was the file. That means whatever the general ledgers which we are having, all the ledgers can be finding out from here, which we will be calling as an find. And the second one is an create. That means whatever the ledgers which we want to make a create, then we will go for this create button. Then we will go for the create button. And if anything was happened, I want to display those of the ledgers whatever we have created. Then we will go for this display. And even if I want to change the ledger whatever I have created in the previous, let's go for the change and make it copy of the ledger whatever we have created. And then I don't want to use the ledger, then make it as a block, and as well as even I don't want to use in the future also. I don't want to use in the future also, not at all now. In the future also I don't want to use it. I want to make it completely block. In the future also I don't want it. Make it as a sort for a deletion. And it was a change the company code and go for the update and go for the print. These are the different types of the buttons which we are having when making of the central components of the journal ledgers. Now, till now we don't have any ledgers. That's why make it create here. Let's give the one and the company code name is JKC. And if I have given here as an assets, it will be showing there. Why? Because assets has been given from 50 to 99, but you have created the ledger of number one. Let's check the capitals. No. Let's check the expenses. No. Let's check the incomes. No. It will become general to the liabilities. That means we have taken the one ledger book with the name of the liabilities, and we said that it consists of the, and we said that it consists of the something liabilities, and the liabilities can have up to the from 1 to 49. 1 to 49 it was. So that's why here I have taken the 1. So I have taken is a 1. And as which we said that all the liabilities will be considered into the balance sheet. As which we have already discussed that all the liabilities should be considered into the liabilities, and the text of the liabilities means which ledger we are going to create here. So here I am going to create the ledger with the name of current liabilities. Current liabilities. All these will be in the type of the description. And if we can go for the control data, when I am going to the control data, it was showing there in the control data. Here, what would be the only balance in the total? So because it was in it was considered to the balance sheet. Whatever the balance sheet accounts should be there, those will be considered to the only balance in local currency, and as well as which can have the open item management and the line item display, and how we will be access all those things. That means how we will be the sort by the transactions. How the sort key will be the first unit. It means I want to make the transactions by the sorting of 001, and in the field status group general, and just make it say that. And now if I can use the change company code, that's it. Now we can have our country and the liabilities of current liabilities. And even if we want to create another liabilities, select it, copy it, and make it 2. And here in the liabilities, I want to create the uh, outstanding expenses and save it. Why? Because all the things are the same. No need to change it again. As like as 3 secure loans. Secure loans. And make it same. As in the same way, when we have created the one ledger, that can be copied to the multiple entities. Now, let me copy from here to there another group, 50, but the 50 is not considered into the liabilities, that will be considered into the assets. And here, cash in hand, cash in hand. And same way, this is also balance sheet. As like as cash at office, cash at office. As like as if I want to go for the bank, HDFC current account. Okay. But here, for this bank accounts, we need to maintain this as an A Z005. And when now the bank account will be there, we need to maintain that as an A relevant to cash flow and make it safe. As in the same way, if I can go for the 100, that is from the capitals. Let's take the equity share capital, but equity share capital is coming under the 001 and not available to the cash flow. And also, I want one more. preference share capital. That. As in the same way, if I can give in the 150, but it was in the profit and loss, incomes, profit and loss, sales revenue, sales revenue, and in the consolidated note and equipment is the only balance in the currency and operator management. And also whatever the revenues which we are getting, we need to maintain here is an C029 as like as 151. Cash discount received. Cash discount received. But some of the accounts which we have to maintain as an A post automatically. Why? Because whenever we have made the payment to the vendors, then the system automatically has to allow the cash discount. But we can't post directly to the cash discount. Which those type of the transactions we need to maintain as an A post automatically. As in the same way, 200. Those are in the expenses. Raw material purchases. Raw material purchases. But all these things will be considered under the G001 or G004. And as well as 201. Rent paid, salaries paid, all the expenses. Rent paid. As well as 202. 202. Let's say
So all the expense account will do it as an automatic payment.
no, not a required.
So auto posting.
No. What will be it is, whenever we are posting any transaction, the transaction should not be postable directly. Say for example, cash discounts are there, but the cash discounts can be depends upon their payment terms and conditions. That means cash discounts cannot be postable directly. That means as like as a general posting, we can't able to post the transaction of this cash discount. It should be
Okay.
postable of anything. It should be postable of anything by using the automatic transaction only, not by the this one. Which those type of the transaction only we can have the something, but not exactly all the expenses. Not exactly the all the expenses.
All the
Whatever the
expenses.
transactions which
Okay.
was happened, and the transaction should not be the postable indirectly by using the F-0 or F-0 or something whatever. Those transactions has to be comes with the some other reference of the transaction. Those type of the transactions
Okay.
will be calling as a post automatically. But we can't say that it should be all for the expenses.
So you will show an example that sir how it treats.
Yeah, we will make
When
the
we are posting, you will be
sure.
okay.
I will give it.
Okay.
See, say for example, first of all, I have made a purchase on a dash 42, something whatever. Purchase account data to vendor account. Purchase account data to vendor account. But when I am making the transaction of this purchase account data to vendor account, I have applied some payment terms. That means what will be the payment terms which I am having in this? There was totally 30 days of the credit limit will be there, and within the 10 days 10% of the credit cash discount, and within the 20 days it can have the 5% of the discount. That means if I had done this transaction on 01/01/2017, it was done on 01/17. It was done on 01/01/17, and I am making the payment. This was the one transaction which is called as a purchases. And now I am making the payment for that invoice. Vendor payment, AF-53, and the transaction is vendor account data. Vendor account has to be debit in between of this transaction was done in between of 10 days. That means the transaction was happening on 05/01/17. And what will happen is the system will be shown like this. The vendor account has been debited with 45,000, and from the bank account it was credited with 45,000, sorry, 50,000. But the remaining amount, the 5,000, has to be gone for cash discount received. That was the purpose. Whenever I want to make it post a transaction like this, that means this cash discount received ledger should not be directly postable, and the transaction should be postable by using the payment only. That means any supporting document itself only, not by the direct postman. At that type of the ledgers we have to maintain as a post automatically. And for making of this automatic transfer of this 5,000 to that particular general ledger, we are using the some transaction keys like SKD, as like as here, SKF, as like as. For the balance carry forward, it was an BIL. As by the transaction of these transaction key wise, by this transaction key wise, we are making this ledger has to be applicable with this amount. That's why this ledger should not be postable directly. These transactions of the ledgers can be postable by using some another any transaction. Which those type of the transactions we need to make it as an a this of the option which is called as an a post automatically. Is it clear, miss? Hello?
Yeah, it is clear. Yeah, it's fine. I got understood that.
That's good. That's good. Now we have created all the ledgers here. Whatever the client is requiring, we made the all the ledgers has been created here. And now, after creation of the ledgers, next part which is called as a general ledger, postings, settlements. General ledger posting, settlements. Here, the first requirement is define tolerance groups. Just a second. Now we have to go for here. Define tolerance group. Define tolerance group for employees. So here we are having the three tolerances group totally. One was with the Define tolerance group with the employees, and a define tolerance group for the GL accounts, tolerance group for GL accounts, and as well as define tolerance group for users. And one is OBA0. This was for the defined tolerance group for the GL account. It means whenever we are posting of any transaction, the transaction should not be more than of this much of the amount. And we have to use the OBA0 here. OBA0.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, now I am able to hear you.
You are able to hear me? Hello. Hello.
Now I am able to hear you, sir.
Right, right, right. So the first one will be the OBA0. Define tolerance group for the GL account. Just go for the new entries. And what would be the company code of yours? JKC. And just make it safe. It was already done. Even if you want to give the tolerance group for the employees, let's see, OBA3 is for customers and vendors. OBA3, and here go for the new entries. And what would be the company code? JKC, and make it safe. And even for the employees, that means users which begin as OBA4, and go for new entries. In the company code of JKC, and whenever I want to post any transaction, and transaction whatever we want to post, that should not be more than of this amount. It should not be more than of this amount. Then we can use here, this much of the amount. Some. And even when posting of a transaction, that should not be more than of the this much of the discount. Let's take the 30% of the discount and make it see. This is what we can call as an A. And after making of these tolerance groups, now we need to go for the number ranges. So what was the purpose of these number ranges? See, not only the number ranges, just we can say that here define document types and number ranges. Define document types and number ranges. In general, for example, if I have given the one report for yours with all the transactions of the company, under the report, can you identify that which transaction was done for which purpose? Generally, we can't able to find out. Why? Because why should the transaction was done? Even if it is a purchase invoice or the sales invoice, or else even if it was the incoming payments or outgoing payments, we can't able to understand that report. So in this situation, what we need to do that the SAP people has been divided all the transactions into different document types, which was called as the transaction types. See here, the SAP system has been divided all the transactions into different groups, like for all the general ledger postings in SAP identified with identified with identified with SA identified with SA. That means the document type of this particular document type is for the general ledger posting is SA, and the number range, the predefined number range is the predefined number range is 0, 1. The predefined document type for the general ledger posting is SA, and the predefined number range for the document type is 0, 1. That means we need to create the document type of the SA and the number range of the 0, 1 for this creation of a or posting of a general ledger transaction. Posting of a general ledger transaction. So here for this terminal path is SP Argo, SAP Defense IMG, financial accounting, global settings, financial accounting global settings, document, line item, controls, document, header, define document types. And this was the transaction code of OBA7. This was the document type of the transaction code of OBA7. OBA7. And let's see here, SPRO, here, SPRO, IMG, financial accounting, global settings, financial accounting, global settings, document, documents, document header, under that define document types. Under that define document types. Directly we can reach this transaction code by using the OVSA. Here there was a multiple of the document types will be there, but initially we are required the document type of the SA. So for reaching of that SA document type, go for the position button, And the document type is SCA. Here it is. Document.